Yo, 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 traders, how are we? Welcome to the live stream. Welcome back to Simply Forex. Trader Tom here, and I'm with you for the next 45 minutes. Not sure if you're lucky or unlucky as a result of that. We are going to do the following, guys. We are going to look at a live trade that I'm currently in. We'll also look at the trades from yesterday. They didn't work out, guys, and we'll try and understand why. And we'll also look at potential trades that we have setting up as well. We're also going to take a look at the news because at 1:30 we have inflation coming out. So this PPI is like inflation for businesses. Okay, so this is really important. So we're going to see what impact this has on the markets, and we will play everyone's favorite game. We will play Guess the News game. Woohoo! Also, more importantly, the real reason we're here, guys, is to, analyze the markets and take as many of your questions as humanly possible. So, guys, don't be shy. Please leave a comment, come say hello, and leave a question. If there's anything you would like to know about trading, or maybe there's a currency pair you want to take a look at, anything you like, guys, please come and ask me in the comments below. You can also ask me about football, geography, and film. I'm an expert in I'm not really, but if I had a quiz, if I had a favorite quiz round, it would be those three. All right, guys, so that's the plan. Also, you'll notice I sound less like Barry White today, but still a little bit like Barry White, because I cannot shift this sore throat and cough that I have. It's bloody annoying, right? It's been bugging me all week. And on that note, let's have a quick sip of coffee, just to soothe my throat. Right, guys, let's start then. Right, let's take a look at Canadian dollar Swiss franc, because I am in this trade. Why am I in this trade? Because daily is clearly in a downtrend. Right, if we look at daily, we're clearly in a downtrend. Lower highs, lower lows. Okay, and then if we drop down to the H4, you can see we are clearly in a H4 downtrend. Now, this is what we call this in the Discord, guys, is a D4 indicator strategy trade, right? This is a trade according to our indicator that we use, right? You can see daily is bearish. You can see H4 has retraced back to the river. You can see the river here. You can also see the river is red, indicating a downtrend. And then when we get a pullback into one of these levels as well, if I zoom in, you can see the indicator also highlights these resistance levels for us, or support, depending on where we are on the chart. And at that level, we have seen bearish candles. Okay, so I've entered here, stop loss here, and I'm looking to take profit here. And I'll leave some profit to run potentially down back to these lows. So that is a purely mechanical indicator trade based on price action. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that, guys, but that's the only new trade I am in today. And those that joined me yesterday, thank you. Gracias, Dankeschön. Speak many languages on this channel. We barely speak English properly. But yeah, we had a couple of losing trades yesterday, guys. And to be quite honest with you, September has been, the start of September has been a tricky start, right? We had a couple of trades go against us, but it's part of trading, right? You better get used to losing trades, and quick. If you can't accept losing trades, do not trade. And if we just understand why quickly, so before these two candles formed, right, we were in a downtrend. Okay, we had nice big bearish candles bouncing off a resistance level. And on the H4, right, we also had a breakdown in H4 structure, right? And then we started entering in here. We started selling in here. stops above here. The idea was to come back down to here. And as you can see, price built up and we got stopped out of this trade. Again, guys, as long as you enter according to your strategy, right? My strategy is all based on price action. As long as you enter according to your strategy, then that's all you can do. Doesn't matter if you have losing trades or winning trades. This is going to sound very peculiar, but trading is not the results business, right? Everyone thinks it is. And any good trader that I've met is a very methodical, process-driven animal, right? And that's what you need to be. Not worry about the result all the time, right? So long as your process is the same, then that's all that matters. You're going to have winning trades, you're going to have losing trades, but eventually, over the space of 6 months or a year, you'll have more winning trades than losing trades. And pretty much, guys, no matter what I do throughout the year, pretty much my win percentage is 60%. So, based on my 1:1, my strategy proves to be profitable. It works out. But again, I've mentioned this many times. You are wrong, or I am wrong, 40% of the time, right? So just get that into your heads quickly, guys. You are wrong 40% of the time. That is a hell of a lot of times to be wrong. So you have to accept those and just move on and let your trading edge play out. So yeah, there you go. We also had a losing trade with Euro Pound, guys, as well. Just the H4, we wanted this level to hold, but it eventually just collapsed, right? Not interested in this trade anymore. So there you go, guys. Let's go back to the trade I'm in. What else did we want to talk about? There's a few trades I'm interested in as well. So I'm interested in pound yen sells, right? Because again, if we just let the indicator do the hard work for us, right? So you can see here, daily is bearish. You can see on the H4, right? We was in this uptrend and then bang, we're in a downtrend. We're getting lower highs, lower lows. We're in a downtrend. Daily is bearish and we're starting to see these candles close back within one another, right? When you start seeing this, when you start seeing wicks close back into the high of the previous candle, and obviously this candle hasn't finished forming, but if you get a wick that closes back into this candle, that is a good indication that sellers are coming in. Okay, how strongly they come in, we don't know, but it will be a movement to the downside. We would look to take price potentially all the way back down to these lows. All right, so pound yen we're looking at. I like this sell trade. Euro CAD I'm not interested in either. Actually, Euro CAD was looking at a potential buy trade here, right? Because as you can see, price is in a H4 uptrend. We're starting to see again candles close back into the other candle. That in itself is a good entry, right? And that was the reason I was keeping an eye on this trade. And you can see we're getting some buying pressure in here. But Euro Canadian dollar buys is pretty much the same trade as Canadian dollar Swiss franc sells, right? These are highly inversely correlated, right? If Euro CAD does this, then Canadian dollar Swiss franc does this, right? And this is what we're interested in. So, Euro Canadian dollar. What else was we interested in? I was also interested in a couple of US dollar pairs. So US dollar yen. If we got a break of this level, right? So US dollar yen, okay, you can see on the H4, it's broken down, right? We're at the Smart River, okay? And I was keeping an eye on this as a trade, right? So you can see we're at the river, Okay, I don't want to do that. You can see we're at the river. And now what I'm looking for me to seriously take this trade would be a H1 structure break, because you can see this level in here has been holding. So I'm interested in US dollar yen if, right, we get a break of that level. I think we could potentially take price back down to here. And it's exactly the same with US dollar Swiss franc. If we go to the H4, right, you can see we are in a H4 downtrend. We're back at the smart river where price is reacting as we speak. But it's been a bit of consolidation, right? Okay, sometimes you'll get that in the market, and we like consolidation when we get a break of consolidation, right? Because if we go to the H1, you can see price is just ranging between here and here. So if we get a break to the downside, right, I think there's a strong possibility we're going to make it back down to these lows. But alternatively, if we do break to the upside, I think this trade has room to the upside. Now, I'm only interested in selling, right, because the daily is bearish, right? But yeah, another couple of trades that I am keeping my little peepers on. It reminds me of my dad when I talk about eyes, because I don't know why I'm going to tell you this story, but my dad had literally like binoculars for glasses, right? You know, I wear glasses now because I can't see too far away and I'm an old bastard. But my dad had binoculars for glasses, right? And when he had glasses, he had these big eyes, right? And and he just looked like dad. But then he got laser eye treatment. And so he lost his glasses. His eyes were good, he could see, but we didn't realize he had the smallest, beadiest little eyes in the world. And he just didn't look like dad. It took a while to get used to it. There you go. I wanted to share that story. Right, less of my stories. Let's see who is in the house. CJ, afternoon, Tom. Loving the D4 strat so far, producing powerful plays. CJ, happy days. I'm glad you're enjoying it, mate. Yeah, everyone's kicking butt with the indicator. Yeah, I mean, there's no two ways about it. Everyone's kicking butt. Jolma, hi, how are you? MX, Euro, US dollar, MX. We will take a look at that very shortly. Niraj, hi, Niraj, how are you? Jolma wants to look at Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar buys. And Raphael wants to look at a good place to short Euro US dollar. Okay, so MX and Raphael, you want to look at Euro US dollar. So let's do that right now. Before I do, guys, if I could please ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. It really helps support the vid and the channel. Merci beaucoup. And also, guys, if you haven't already, if you look above my head, first, go check out the website. You can get access to all of our premium trading education. So please go visit the website, www.simply-forex.com. We've got the Simply Forex course. We've got the mentorship program. We've got the VIP Trading Academy. And we have our kicking ass price action indicator. Also, guys, the next one, come join our Discord channel. We have a free trading community. You can talk to like-minded traders, share knowledge, ideas, have a chit chat. So please come join our free Discord today. And also, guys, finally, today's live stream is brought to you by Pepperstone, a world-class broker. And if you switch brokers today, we will give you free VIP Academy access and we'll give you a free Essential Trading View subscription. I bet your broker is doing nothing for you, so why don't you check out that offer? Use our link, guys, and switch brokers today. Euro US dollar. Let's take a look at that. And let's do a top-down approach, guys. Okay. In fact, we're going to do this all together as one big happy family. We haven't done this for a while. I have to keep drinking coffee, guys, because my throat is like I've been gargling razor blades. So euro US dollar, right? Actually, let's get a brand new, absolutely naked chart. Okay, let's use forex.com. Right. Okay. Now, you've got none of my support and resistance levels on this chart. In fact, all you have is, well, you have our indicator or part of it, but just ignore everything for the time being. I'm going to ask you a very simple question, and I want you all to answer in the live chat below. Okay, and these are your very simple options when you have a trade, right? So looking at euro US dollar, we're going to do a top down approach. We're going to look at multiple time frames, and we're going to start with the weekly. So euro US dollar on the weekly chart, would you buy, sell, or stay out of the market? So everyone, guys, get involved. Please leave your answer in the live chat right now. Buy, sell, or stay out of this market. Remember, focus on everything we've learned, guys, right? Focus on support and trend and structure, support and resistance, candlesticks and value, right? And try and make a decision based on that. So euro US dollar, would you buy, sell, or stay out of this market? Everyone, please leave your answer now. Hi, Shreyas, how are you? Jolma, I will look at Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. Okay, so price action, stay out. Jolma, stay out. Daniel, stay out. Mohammed would buy. Anyone else, guys? Raphael and Ems, what would you do? MX, what would you do? Okay, so what we're doing here, guys, is market sentiment, right? You are market sentiment. You're a very small sample of the market sentiment, but you are market sentiment. And pretty much everyone has said stay out, right? And I have to agree, because let's look at this in terms of price action and structure, right? So on the weekly chart, we are clearly in an uptrend, right? We are. So we want to look for buys. Also, right, I would say the candles are bullish, right? Look at all of those bottom wicks, right? The candles are bullish, right? So far we're thinking, okay, we want to buy the market. But the problem is this market, euro US dollar, has found a ceiling. And that ceiling is there. And it's called resistance, right? It's hit once, reacted. Hit again, reacted. Currently hitting and reacting, right? So no matter how, no matter structure and trend, candlesticks, it's very difficult for me to buy this market, right, into this resistance level, okay, especially after yesterday's daily candle. So on the weekly, for me, it is a stay out for those reasons, okay? But we don't stop our analysis there. We go down to the day chart now, and we're going to do the same. If we drop down to the day chart now, okay, same question. We'll keep that level in now. So same question, right? Looking at euro US dollar daily chart, would you buy, sell, or stay out of this market? So everyone, guys, get involved. What would you do? Buy, sell, or stay out of this market? We're now looking at the daily chart. Okay, so we've got some others. Michael was stay out. Hi, Michael. How are you, mate? Fendi was wait for a bearish candle. Okay. Okay. Right. Now, daily chart. Michael would buy the daily chart. Jolma would stay out. Niraj would stay out. Anyone else, guys? Get involved. Leave your answer. You're here to learn. Unless you're making 20% every day. I'm not joking. Nobody makes 20% every day. Okay, 9 a.m. would buy. Okay, so we've got a couple of buys, a couple of stay outs on the daily. Anyone else? Don't be shy. Okay, so let's take these answers. So market sentiment is a little bit more even now. Weekly, the majority was stay out, right? Now on the daily, we've got 3 buys and 2 stay outs, 4 buys. Okay, so market sentiment on the daily is to buy it. Now, again, let's look at price action. Let's look at the facts, okay? And S zone would buy as well, right? Now, again, this is not me making shit up. This is me showing you the facts of the chart. And by analyzing the facts of the chart, you make a decision as to how you want to trade any asset, okay? So let's do that. So, first and foremost, you can clearly see we was in a bit of a range and now we are in an up. Okay? Clearly, right? We're clearly in an uptrend. We've broken this level here, right? And we got this bullish candle here. Okay? So, we are clearly in an uptrend, right? So, I want to buy the market. Now, support and resistance, okay, is the next thing we look at. There is resistance here. Have we quite hit it? Maybe not. Okay, you know, maybe there is a little bit more room here. You know, I can't help but think this 1.18 thousand level, but there's not much room there. Okay, but support and resistance, let's say we haven't hit it yet. Okay, we can still come back up and hit it, right? So trend, uptrend, we've got room to move into. But the next one, which is very important, is candlesticks. And if you look at this big bearish candlestick, would you buy that candlestick? And the answer is no, right? Now, for me, I have to have all these confluences moving in the same direction. And if one lets it down, I'm not interested in that trade, right? So we had structure and trend tick, we had support and resistance tick, but we didn't have the candlestick, right? And that is a big no. I don't want to be buying into that candlestick. Okay, so for me, daily is a stay out. Okay, so euro US dollar, for those reasons, I would stay out of the market. Now, let's just, so daily and weekly give me my direction, which is stay out, right? So this wouldn't be a trade idea for me today. But then if we drop down to the H4, you also have to think to yourself, what's going on in terms of H4 structure and can I enter? And you can clearly see on the H4, we have clearly broken down. We've broken these lows. So even if you did want to buy this market, for me, I would have to wait for H4 trend, right, to potentially do something like this. And then we could start buying again, right? So if anything, based on H4, breaking these lows, this would be a sell trade. Okay, so multiple time frame analysis does, you know, and I have this debate as well, like analysis paralysis, but it's not that, right? What this is analyzing multiple time frames to find the highest probability trade you can by looking for as much confluence as you can, right? And that's basically what we're doing here, all right? Looking at multiple time frames to find confluence. And for me, guys, yeah, we just don't have that with euro US dollar. There's too much conflicting information. So I would stay out of this pair. Right, news in 5. Thank you very much. We will keep an eye out for the news. Jolma wanted to look at Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. Where are we, Jolma? Bum, 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 bum. Here. Right. Joma, this one is for you. Let's take a look. I saw a program on Brazil the other day. I've got so David Blaine. I can't remember if it's on Prime Video or Disney, but he has got a new series out, and I like a bit of David Blaine. You know, David Blaine, like the magician, stunt man, escape artist, slight nutter, right? So he's got this new series out, and he went to Brazil, and he met the woman's, leading high diving champion. Met her and met this woman who basically went across a volcano. She was Brazilian as well. There's lots of crazy women in Brazil, Joma, I've realized. And anyway, he ended up jumping off a bridge, doing a 34-meter dive, being set alight. Watch it. I'm not really doing it justice, so go check it out for yourself. But it was interesting. The first series was in Brazil. Anyway, let's have a look at Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, right? And again, let's do a top-down approach. So what I just showed you with Euro US dollar, I am going to do exactly the same now, right? Let's remove this. This was an old target. Okay, now here is a level of resistance. We are clearly on the weekly, we're clearly in an uptrend, right? There's no two ways about that. We are a little bit overextended, right? We are, yeah. If you look at the river, we're so far away from the river. Things are a little bit overextended, and we've got wicks closing back within one another at a resistance level. So it's an uptrend, so I'm looking for buys, but I cannot buy into that, right? That is a no-go. I cannot buy into that. Okay. Now, that's only the weekly. So let's take a look at the daily now as well. Now, the daily is interesting, right? Because again, we was at this level, and then pretty much we've done this. Okay, we're getting higher highs. These lows are holding, right? So we're in an uptrend, and we have a very bullish daily candle. Now, typically, right, if you only looked at daily, you'd be thinking, yeah, I can buy that back up to this level. But because I've looked at the weekly, and I know we're getting a bit of a bearish reaction there, it's difficult for me to buy Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. Although the daily chart, right, is a nice setup, right? Uptrend, bullish candle, room to move into, lots of things to like. If we drop down to the H4 now, yeah, I mean, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar is in a downtrend on the H4, right? We was in this uptrend. Yeah, and we're like this now. Okay, we've broken these lows in here. We're getting lower lows, so we're definitely in a downtrend. We're back at the river, and then just look at these wicks we're getting. If anything, this is looking more like a sell trade right now. But if you've got a big bullish H4 candle that broke out of this resistance we're seeing, then okay, potentially we have some room to move back into. But because of that weekly contradicting the daily, I'm not interested in Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. But if you said, Tom, you have to trade it, otherwise we will drag you from a wild horse along gravel while my feet are tied and roped to the horse. Oh dear, I never know where I go with these strange analogies. So if you said that to me and you said you had to trade it, I would look for sells, right? I'd probably go down to the H1, look for a structure break here, right? Get a break here. I would look to sell Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. Okay, we've just had some news come out. I can see that by the movement of the candle. So let's go look at US dollar pairs right now. Okay, so we are seeing US dollar weakness, right, with this euro US dollar trade, with euro US dollar, sorry, not in a trade. Let's have a look at pound US dollar, right? We are seeing US dollar weakness. Okay, let's have a look at US dollar yen. Okay, we are seeing US dollar weakness. So this is interesting for a couple of my trades I mentioned earlier, US dollar yen and US dollar Swiss franc. We'll keep an eye on those. But ultimately, guys, we are seeing US dollar weakness. So I am assuming the PPI data was worse than expected. Call me Sherlock Holmes. Let's take a look. Yes, both very much worse than expected, right? That has gone into negative territory. That is a big miss. And look at the previous month as well. That is bad, right? So that has proven to be bearish, for the US dollar so far, right? Let's go back to euro US dollar. Okay. Yeah, so far it's not exactly super crazy move, right? It's not a super crazy move, but we're seeing US dollar strength. But what I do want to look at is the indices, right? And how they're absorbing that information. So okay, so yeah, a little bit of, so it was very bullish today, the indices, right? But that PPI news isn't bullish for indices, right? If we look at US dollar 50, okay, so we're seeing a bit of a negative reaction here on the indices as well, which again will lead to, if this is sustained, will lead to strength in flight to safeties. So let's have a look at pound yen. Remember, we like this trade. So pound yen's looking more and more increasingly like a good trade, right? You can see this here. We'll be keeping an eye on pound yen to sell, back down to here. Let's have a look at US dollar yen. Yeah, so we're getting a bearish reaction right now there as well. Let's have a look at Canadian dollar Swiss franc. Okay, so let me just check. I should have hit target there. Let's check we didn't get whipped out of that trade. 1 second, guys. Okay, no. Okay, so yeah, made profit on Canadian dollar Swiss franc. Happy days, right? It's actually taken 100% profit. So yeah, as price come down here, it took, normally I set my alarms up, guys, and then I make a decision how much profit I want to take, but this has just taken 100% profit. So yeah, happy days on Canadian dollar Swiss franc. Nice trade, courtesy of the indicator. Right, what else are we looking at, guys? Let's scroll down. Yeah, Michael. Okay, so Michael's looking at pound yen. Yeah, Michael, like I've just said, I like pound yen sells. Right, looking at the H4, I really like it. Okay, so if you can see H4 structure, we're here. Okay, we're at the river. If this candle remains bearish, right, I'm going to look to sell this, potentially back down to these lows. All right, so we'll keep an eye on pound yen. I do like that trade. We'll keep an eye on that. And then Nuraj wanted to look at New Zealand dollar, US dollar. This was a tricky one, guys, right? Because we was all waiting for this level, right? My alarm was actually in here, right? And everyone in the world was waiting for this level, right? Price comes back down, hit this level. I probably would have traded this aggressively and just entered. But by the time I got up, New Zealand US dollar was already shooting off up here, right? And we had this big bullish H4 candle. Then all of a sudden, once we see this big bullish candle, there's not much value in the trade for me, really. I want to see price hit this level, potentially come back down, right, to the river, right? And then it gives us another setup to go long. Because ultimately, we are long New Zealand dollar, US dollar. But if you look at the daily, yesterday's candle didn't fill us with optimism, right? This candle is not what we want to see if we are buying. So this suggests that we could potentially see price come down a little bit lower before we go higher. Now, we like this trade, as we discussed yesterday, because we was in this downtrend and now we're clearly in an uptrend, right? Higher lows, higher highs, right? And we were trying to get in yesterday off the back of this big bullish candle. And then we got this candle, right? So there's a bit of conflict there between buyers and sellers. But if we get another bullish daily candle like this, right, my target would still be, my higher time frame target would still be up here. And I'm still very much interested in buying New Zealand dollar, US dollar. But I want to see a retrace, right? I don't want to start buying here. I want to see price come back towards the river, right? And then we can start buying. So the Raj, yeah, nothing's changed with New Zealand dollar, US dollar. We still want to buy that. Right, what else are we looking at? Right, okay, Wissy, you are so wrong. Which trade are you talking about, Wissy? I enjoy other people's opinions, so please tell me what trade you're looking at and we shall take a look. And again, Wissy, it depends on your time frame, right? You're looking at the H1 time frame. I'm trading daily, weekly, and the H4, right? You could have a totally different perspective if you looked at the M15. So let me know what currency pair you're talking about there, Wissy. We'll take a look. What else did we want to look at? We've done pound yen. We've done New Zealand dollar, US dollar for Niraj. Let's take a look at, what else was we looking at? Let's take a look at those US dollar pairs we were looking at. So US dollar yen, interestingly, right, still currently isn't breaking this level, right? Currently, still got 20 odd minutes before this H1 candle finishes. Okay, so this will be interesting. I'm going to put a alarm back in there. Okay, and then let's take a look at US dollar Swiss franc. So that initial US dollar weakness, right, that's pretty short-lived, right? Yeah. Let's carry on looking at the indices, actually. Yeah. So, this is what makes me laugh about fundamentals, guys, right? You wait all day for these pieces of news to come out, right? And then you see terrible figures come out, right? And they are terrible figures, right? No two ways about it. That is terrible in terms of inflation, right? And then the market just does what it wants to anyway. There's bigger players at play. Yeah, they don't care. They're like, okay, yeah, I'm still longing it, right? Or with US dollar, they're like, don't care. I'm still buying it or selling it, whatever they want to do. So that's why I place less and less. Well, over the years, that's why I've placed less and less emphasis on all these figures that come out. Obviously, I don't want to be in a trade when those initial figures come out, right? Because price can just spike, right? I don't want to be in a US dollar pair, but price just does what it wants to do, right? You've seen many times where worse than expected news has come out and the market's just gone, yeah, so what? Or you've seen far better than expected news and the market's gone, yeah, so what? So trying to make sense of all that just seems like it will give you more grey hair. So just trade technically what you see, right? The technicals don't lie. You know, I always talk about support and resistance, trend and structure, candlesticks, this concept of value, right? Trade that. That really tells you what's going on. Okay. Right, what are we looking at here? Okay, so Wissy is talking about Canadian dollar, Swiss franc. So Wissy, I've already in and out of that trade, right? We've made money on that trade already. So if we look at Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, and Wissy's talking about the H1, you're going to see a double bottom. Yeah, okay. All right, so you're talking about this level here, right? Potentially. Okay, so I've taken profit on this trade, right? But if you look at the H1, and this is a great advertisement for looking at multiple time frames, right? Because I talk to many traders, right, and they'll be like, right, I'm buying Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, and I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. I'm selling Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, and it's all to do with your time frame and your time horizon, right? You might be selling Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, but you hold on to trades for 3 weeks. I might be buying Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, but I hold on to trades for a day. Yeah, you need to understand each trader's perspective and their time horizon, right? So, you know, you could have someone scalping the 1 minute chart, nutters, but you could. But yeah, I mean, H1, I would agree, is in an uptrend, right? We were down here. It was a little bit messy. We're building up, right? We've become in a little bit of a uptrend stroke range on the H1, okay? But on the H4, what we saw was a downtrend, right? And there's no two ways about it. That is clearly in a downtrend, right? Lower highs, lower lows, right? So before, I appreciate your input, Wissy, and you come in and say what you like. I like a bit of, opinions, but you have to put your opinions in perspective, right? You have to understand what the trader's trading. And I'm trading H4. And for me, this still looks like a sell trade, right? Nothing's changed on the H4 to tell me any different. If we start breaking this level, okay, that's a little bit different, right? I'm thinking if we get a bullish H4 candle break through that level, yeah, I'm not interested in selling it anymore anyway, right? So yeah, there you go. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. If you haven't already, please go check out our website. In the top left-hand corner, you can get access to all of our premium trading education. Also, guys, come join our Discord. It is a free trading community. We've got great traders in there sharing knowledge and ideas, so come join it. Why the hell not? Also, please check out our promotion we have with Pepperstone. If you switch brokers today using our link and sign up with Pepperstone, we will give you free VIP access, and we'll give you a free Essential Trading View subscription. It's a no-brainer. Check it all out, guys. Please don't forget to join me same time again tomorrow for more of the same. See you tomorrow.